Plug in some attitude with Sound Toys.
So hi Ian.
Hi.
We are here at Melbourne Instruments. It's Superbooth 2024 and we're going to look at Delia, right? So this is your new keyboard instrument.
That's right.
So tell us about it.
So Delia is our first keyboard instrument. We're building it on our motorized knob platform. It's based on Nina, but it's a pretty substantial reinvention of what Nina can do. First of all, it's the front end of it is actually all digital, and then the back end, the last filter and VCA are analog. The analog filter is it's a tightening up of the one on Nina, so it's still a Moog ladder filter design, but it's definitely got a sort of tighter, kind of more controlled sound. Like for example, you can tune the resonance self-oscillation. You can actually play notes in tune. It's much more sort of stable, which actually changed the character of the unit quite a lot. We've also made it a multi-mode filter, which a lot of people asked for. So there's a high-pass control and a low-pass control. And what you can do is you can link the two together, and then it becomes a band-pass control. And if you change one, it automatically just changes the other. So it keeps the bandwidth the same between the two controls when they're linked. There's also a separate resonance for the high pass and low pass. So the low pass resonance is high. I turn it to high pass, and I can set the amount of resonance on the high pass also. The analog filter has a choice of 24 or 12 dB slopes if you want to get a nice brightening of the sound, and the resonance is slightly more controlled than on the 24. The front end oscillator section is similar to Nina in that it's two sort of traditional, they're modelled oscillators. They're actually modelled triangle and square circuit, and they're but you can cross modulate the two now through the mod matrix, which you couldn't do on Nina because Nina had pure analog oscillators. That wasn't possible, but so you can get FM modulation effects via that. It's also got 3 LFOs, and we're using our sort of motorized control panel to switch between the 3 LFOs. There's also 3 envelope generators, so you can jump between the VCA, VCF, and a third aux envelope very quickly, just doing that. It's got 2 digital effects banks in it. You can control the send param, and there's a macro which you can assign to whatever parameter you want to assign it to control the effects as you're playing.
So what effects have you got in there?
There's a chorus, a reverb, and a delay, and then they have a whole bunch of parameters on to set them up. And you can have 2 of them active. They can either be in series or in parallel, and we got our morph function that we had on Nina as well. So you can morph between 2 sounds. And other than that, it really gives quite a different character to Delia, and I'm running out of them.
So what is the how many voices is it? Because I don't think because obviously Nina is 12 voices,
yes,
right?
Nina is 12 voices, and this is 6. So what we've got is 6. There's 6 filters and VCAs at the back end, and then the whole front end section is generated digitally. So it has. Now, in most sounds, in most situations, you don't really suffer from voice stealing with 6 voices. The 2 places where you do suffer is we offer a bi-timbral split, so you can have like a keyboard split or a stack of 2 sounds, and in unison, when you play unison voices. Those cases can result in voice stealing. So we've got a 12-note mode that we've built in, and it actually works really, really well. the entire bank of the front end can be replicated in doubles. So we don't just take the 4 oscillators and split them and create 2 notes. We actually have 2 complete banks of 4 oscillators.
So it's like 12 voices into 6 filters and
right.
6 VCAs.
Yeah, 12 voices into 6 filters, 6 VCAs. And then there's a couple of ways you can choose, depending on the sound. You can turn on the 12-note mode, and then depending on the sound, you can there's 2 ways you can allocate the voices to go into the 2 filters. One is to simply do it based on the proximity of time. So if you play a chord, then it will pair up the adjacent notes into filters. And the other one is based on distance. So if you're playing and you get a long tail, you don't want to shove the top note through the same filter as the bottom one, because the filter might be in a different position. So depending on the sound, you can choose between those 2 ways you want to split it. But it is actually a very effective and nice way of just getting you up away from note stealing when you might have it.
So when are you kind of hoping to be ready? Is it ready to ship, or what's the kind of time scale?
We're saying something that the hardware is basically ready, and we're just waiting to iron out the last bugs in the software. So internally we're hoping to get it out in the next month or so. And so we're saying summer, because it should be out, it should be in people's hands by, end of June, July if things go. But there's a little bit of risk, so we're not quite sure. But yeah, that's kind of about where we are, pretty close. And
in terms of price, what are you kind of aiming for?
So it's in Europe, it's 2,300 euro roughly plus tax, which obviously varies from country, and it's like 2,200 pounds plus tax in the UK, and it's 23.99 plus tax in the US. So it's quite a bit cheaper than Nina was, and it's a keyboard.
Brilliant. Well,
we worked
Ian,
hard on getting our motorized knob technology down in price, which was a big part of that whole.
So what has kind of gone into getting that the motorized fader kind of down? Is it just because there's like a few less knobs on this one, right?
That's right. Yeah, there's 21 on this one, and there's 32 on Nina. So that's one of the things. But we've actually on Nina, like there was the first unit, the motorized knobs. Every single one is machined from a billet of alloy. It's a much more expensive process. We've invested in molding and injection molding and things like that to sort of a bit more upfront cost, but then you can actually make the motors quite a bit cheaper. We've also worked on the electronics. So because we've had time to work on optimizing, getting rid of some of the fat and the cost of it. And the other one was then just simply by removing a large part of the analog circuitry. That actually brings the component down a lot. But,
brilliant. Well, yeah, Ian, thank you very much for speaking to us, and enjoy the show.
Thank you very much.